Chapter 10 of Living Alone by Stella Benson. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. The Dweller Alone. "Well, Sarah Brown, here we are," said the witch, her Byronic hair flying as she sat perilously on the rail of the deck. The distant flying buttresses of New York were supporting a shining sky, and north and east lay the harbour and sea, and many ships moving with the glad gait of homecomers after perilous voyaging. Every minute upon the sea is a magic minute, but the voyage of the witch and Sarah Brown had been unmarked by any supernatural activities on the part of the witch. She had been more or less extinguished by the presence of 500 Americans, not one of whom had ever heard the word magic used, except by advertisers in connection with their wares. Miss Ford had been left behind, cured for ever of nerve storms. She had become unexpectedly engaged to Mr. Bernard Tovey while looking for a porter on Lime Street Station, Liverpool, and had returned with him to London to celebrate the event by means of a Super Wednesday. The mayor had also failed to embark. Indeed, the unfortunate man had not been heard of since his seizure on the night of the fire, and I believe that the London police are still trying to arrest him as a German spy. "Here we are," said the witch to Sarah Brown. "At least, I suppose this city on its tiptoes is New York. Do you think I ought to call the attention of the captain to that largish lady on our left, who seems to be marooned upon a rock and Chapter signaling 10 to of us Living for help?" Alone by Stella Benson.
That is the Statue
This
of
LibriVox
Liberty,
recording is in
said
the public
three neighbouring
domain.
Americans in chorus.
The Dweller Alone.
"How do you mean, liberty?" asked
"Well,
the witch.
Sarah Brown, here we are,"
The three
said the
Americans
witch,
froze her
her
with
Byronic
three
hair
glances.
flying as she sat perilously
America
on the rail
is
of
the
the
home
deck.
of liberty.
The
they all
distant
said
flying
together.
buttresses of New York were
"Oh, yes,
supporting
of
a
course,
shining
how stupid
sky,
of me,"
and north
said the
and
witch.
east lay the
"I ought
harbour
to
and
have
sea,
remembered that every country
and many
is the
ships
home of
moving
liberty.
with the glad gait of
Such a pity
homecomers
that
after
liberty
perilous
never seems to
voyaging.
begin at home.
Every
Every big
minute
shop
upon
in
the
London,
sea
you
is
know,
a
is
magic
labelled
minute.
patronised by royalty.
But the voyage of the witch
Yet I
and
have bought
Sarah Brown
haberdashery
had
by
been
the hour
unmarked
without
by
running
any
across a
supernatural
single queen.
activities on the part of the witch.
I suppose if you didn't have this
She
big
had been
label
more or less
sticking up in your
extinguished by the
harbour,
presence of
you
500
Americans might
Americans,
forget that America
not
is
one
the
of
home
whom
of
had ever
liberty.
heard the word magic
I know
used,
quite a lot about
except
America
by
from a grey
advertisers
squirrel
in
who
connection
rents my
with their
Maytree on
wares.
Mitten Island. It is a long time
Miss
since
Ford
he
had
came
been
over,
left behind,
but he still chitters
cured
with a strong
forever
New
of
England
nerve
accent.
storms.
He came
She
away
had
because
become
he was a
unexpectedly
socialist.
engaged to
I
Mr.
gather
Bernard
America is
Tovey
too full of
while
liberty
looking for
to
a
leave
porter
room
on
for
Lime Street
socialism,
Station,
isn't that so?
Liverpool, and had
My
returned with
squirrel
him to
says there are
London
only
to
two
celebrate the
parties in
event by
America,
means of a Super
Republicans
Wednesday.
and sinners. At
The
least I
mayor had
think that
also
was what he
failed to
said.
embark.
And anybody who
Indeed,
belongs
the
to neither of
unfortunate
these
man had
parties
not
is
been
given
heard
penal
of since his
servitude for
seizure on
life.
the night of the fire,
So I understood,
and I
but
believe
I
that
may
the
be
London
wrong.
police are still
I'm not
trying
very
to
good at
arrest him as a
politics.
German spy.
Anyway, my squirrel
"Here
had
we
to leave
are,"
the home of liberty
said the
and come
witch
to
to Sarah
England
Brown.
so as to be able to
"At
say
least,
what he
I
thought.
suppose this city on its
I
tiptoes
wish I
is
were
New
there
York.
too.
Do you think I
Sarah
ought to call
Brown,
the
I don't
attention of the
yet know
captain to
why
that
you
largish
brought me
lady
here.
on our left, who seems to be
I brought
marooned
you here
upon a
to
rock
escape
and
the law,"
signalling to us for
said
help?
Sarah Brown.
"That is the
How do
Statue
you
of
mean, escape
Liberty,"
the law?
said three
Didn't
neighbouring
you know that all
Americans in
magic
chorus.
lives and thrives on the wrath of
"How
the
do you
law?
mean, liberty?"
Have you forgotten
asked
our
the witch.
heroic tradition of martyrdom and
The three
stake?
Americans froze her with
Isn't the
three
world
glances.
tame enough already?
"America
want
is the
magic to
home of
become?
liberty,"
A branch of the
they
civil
all said
service?
together.
I
"Oh yes,
spent
of
all I
course,
had
how
in bringing
stupid
you
of me,"
here,"
said the
Sarah
witch.
Brown.
"I ought to
I
have
left all
remembered
I
that
loved to
every
bring
country
you
is the
here.
home of liberty.
I am as if dead in
Such a
England
pity
now.
that liberty never seems to
Nobody
begin
there
at
will
home.
ever think of me again.
Every big shop in
Except as
London,
a
you know,
thing
is
that has
labelled
been heard the
patronised by
last of.
royalty, yet I have bought haberdashery by
looked
the hour
kindly
without
at her.
running across a single queen.
No, she said.
I suppose if you didn't
When
have
you
this big
first told me
label
to go
sticking up
away,
in your harbour,
after Harold made
you
that bad
Americans
landing
might
on a
forget that
policeman,
America is the
I
home
thought
of
perhaps
liberty.
you were a sort of cinema
I know
villainess,
quite a lot about
driving me
America
away
from a
from
grey
my
squirrel
house
who
and
rents my
heritage.
Maytree on Mitten
At
Island.
first I thought of
It is a
arguing
long
the
time
matter,
since he came
but then I
over,
remembered that
but he still
villains always
chitters
have
with
a
a strong
rotten
New
time
England accent.
without being bullied and
He came away
persecuted by
because he
the
was a
rest of us.
socialist. I gather
Besides,
America is
solid
too full
things
of
are never
liberty
worth
to leave
fighting
room for
over.
socialism, isn't that so?
Well, I have been patient with you all
My
this
squirrel
time,
says there are
and
only
have
two
fallen
parties in
courteously
America,
with all your fiendish
Republicans and
plans,
sinners.
as I thought.
At least I think that
And
was
now
what
I
he
am
said.
glad I was patient.
And anybody who
for I
belongs
see
to
you
neither
meant
of these
well.
parties is given penal servitude
Dear
for
Sarah
life.
Brown, you did
So I
mean
understood, but I may be
How
wrong.
sad it is that
I'm
people
not very
who
good
have
at
once lived
politics.
in the house of living alone
Anyway,
can never make a
my squirrel
success
had
of
to leave the
friendship.
home of liberty and come to
You say
England,
you left
so
all
as to
you
be able to
love.
say what he
What
thought.
business have you with love?
I wish I were there too.
Thank you, my dear, for
Sarah
meaning
Brown,
so well.
I don't yet
and
know
for
why
these
you
fair
brought
days
me
at
here.
sea. But I mustn't
I
stay
brought
with
you here to escape the
I
law,
mustn't set foot on this
said
land.
Sarah Brown.
I can smell cleverness
How do you
and
mean,
unmagic
escape the
even
law?
from here.
Didn't you know
I
that all
must go
magic
back to my
lives and
little spring
thrives on the
island
wrath
and my
of the law?
parish of fairy.
Have you forgotten our heroic
Oh,
tradition
witch,
of martyrdom
don't
and
leave
the
me.
stake?
Don't leave me like this.
Isn't the world
Ill
tame
and
enough
bewildered
already?
and so far
What
from
do you want
home.
magic to become? A branch
How
of
can
the
you
civil
be far from
service?
home? You!
I spent
a
all I
dweller
had
in
in
the
bringing
greatest
you
home
here,
of all.
said Sarah Brown.
Did you think you had
I
destroyed
left all
the
I
house
loved
of
to
living
bring you
alone?
here.
Did
I
you
am
think
as
you
if
could
dead in
escape
England
from it?
now. Nobody there will ever think of me
Sarah Brown
again,
said nothing.
except as a thing that has been
She
heard
watched
the
the
last
witch
of.
call Harold her broomstick to her.
The witch
and
looked
adjust
kindly
the
at
saddle
her.
and tighten the strap round
You
his
know,
middle.
she said,
She watched her
when you
mount
first
and
told me to
embark
go
upon the
away,
sunny air.
after Harold made that bad landing
The
on a
three
policeman,
Americans were talking
I
politics
thought
and
perhaps
did
you
not
were a
notice
sort of
anything
cinema
but each
villainess,
other.
driving me away from my
The witch
house and
alighted for a
heritage.
moment on one spike
At
of the
first
Crown
I
of
thought of
Liberty,
arguing the matter,
and climbing
but then I
carefully
remembered
down
that
onto the
villains
ladies'
always have a
parting,
rotten
was
time
seen by Sarah
without
Brown
being
to
bullied
bend
and
down
persecuted
till her
by the
head
rest
hung
of us.
apoplectically upside down.
Besides,
and
solid
gazed
things are
long
never
and
worth
curiously
fighting
into
over.
that impassive bronze
So I
eye.
have been patient with you all this time,
Presently she
and have fallen in
remounted Harold,
courteously with all your
and with a
fiendish
flippant
plans,
and ambiguous
as I
gesture
thought.
of her foot,
And now I am
launched
glad
herself
I was
eastward.
patient, for I see you
She
meant well.
disappeared without looking back.
Dear Sarah Brown, you did
The
mean
dock
well.
was reached.
How sad it is that
Sarah
people who
Brown
have once
collected
lived in the
David her
house of
dog
living
and
alone
Humphrey her
can never make a
suitcase.
success of friendship.
Hers was a very wieldy
You
family.
say you left all you loved.
An
What
official
business
asked
have
her
you with
something,
love?
using one side of his mouth
Thank you, my
only
dear,
to
for
do
meaning so well,
in the alarming
and
manner
for
of
these fair
American
days
officials.
at sea. But I mustn't
cannot
stay with
hear
you.
you,
I mustn't
Sarah
set foot on
Brown.
this land.
I am
I
stone
can smell
deaf.
cleverness and unmagic even
And
from
she
here.
stepped over the threshold
I
of
must
the
go back to my
greater
little
house of
spring
living
island and
alone.
my parish of fairy. Oh, witch, don't
End of
leave me.
chapter 10.
Don't leave me like this.
End of Living
Ill
Alone
and
by
bewildered
Stella
and so
Benson.
far from home.
Recording by Corrie Samuel
How can you
for
be far from
LibriVox.org.
home? You, a dweller in the greatest home of all.